I've always disputed reality, and the reason why is because I have a tendency to see the same numbers over and over again. And 437 permutations of 4, 3, and 1, 1. Hell. Basically, subtle little details telling you you're in hell. And I'm coming to the realization that what really hell is that all reality is that it's a kind of a simulation where everybody is put together in the simulation, and you're sorted according to your behavior, and eventually you get completely removed from reality, and you get popped into a sandbox just specifically for you. And in that sandbox, you never become popular. You never escape into any kind of, into any common reality that you started out in. And so when I was born, I remember seeing my brother's pachinko machine. And I looked at that and saw how the balls would come down, and how the game was is that you tried to get your balls to fall in the right parts at the bottom. It's a kind of a pinball machine where there's no center hole. And I thought and over the years I've thought, there was a reason why that pachinko machine was in his room, and it was to remind me that this is how life was going to be for me. And if you read through the Bible, you get the idea that not very many people are going to get picked to go to heaven, and a lot of people are just going to end up in hell. And the sign is that Jesus said in John, he said the only if you hate your life, you will find your life in heaven, or you'll surely find your life. If you hate your life here, you'll surely find your life. If you love your life here, you surely will not end up in heaven. So, and the clues were there for me all the time. I saw rich people wearing crosses, and all the things that just stuff around me, people around me who were kind of living completely orthogonal to everything Jesus said. And I live orthogonally to everything Jesus said. So I'm not going to pretend like I'm a Jesus follower or anything like that. It's just that I ended up watching everybody else and just thinking, well, I'm okay because everybody else is like me. And the reality is that I've been aligning myself with a lie. And but you can't change where you are at. If you end up as a sandbox created just for you, you end up in your own private hell. There's nothing you can do about it, and you can just enjoy what there is in it as long as you're alive. And then when you die, who knows what the heck hell is anyhow? And it's probably really terrible, but it's the whole thing. It's the whole kit and caboodle what this is. And it's where I'm sitting. It's where I'm at. I don't know if it's just the neurons in my head, which I kind of am learning about from this book about deep learning. What the neurons probably are is that they just adapt to whatever reality they're given, and they adapt to input, and they learn by checking, by seeing if they end up going in the correct place. And so I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. I do know subtle things, and I know whenever I get into discussions with people who are eager to prove me wrong, they're usually wowed. but it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean that I'm winning a game or anything. It's just that I've wowed some demon who was intent on making me look like a fool, and I think that's probably what's going to end. What's going to happen is when I die, I'm probably going to end up being put in a box separate from all the demons, because they're not going to want to mess with me. There will be ones who will, probably, but they throw the numbers at you most of the time just to try to get you to be comfortable with what it is, where you are, and what you're doing, and they're just trying to. I mean, some people would probably commit suicide, but I don't see any point in it. I see reality. I see the world around me as something to experience, and even though it's annoying to see the numbers over and over again, and to not ever really get out of the box is familiar, and it's stuff I like, and I do what I like, and that's how I spend my time in this box, this simulated reality. And there's a part of me that's saying this isn't really, that hell is really, and hell and heaven and all this stuff is really not the end of the show. That it's really, we're being sorted, and the ones that are going to heaven are kind of, I would think, we're probably going to be involved in a project that God has specific just for, and for all the people that end up in hell. They're not going to, if they're tortured, I would wonder why, and why not make use of them somehow and have them live other kinds of lives, other kind of parallel realities, get rehabilitated like you would with a prisoner. I mean, if we do it for prisoners in our prison system, why wouldn't God do the same? And so that's what I imagine is going to happen, is that we'll all get rehabilitated, and we won't end up in heaven, but we'll end up somewhere useful and meaningful, and maybe able to use some of our talents, if we still have talents, use our functions. See, because all this body is, or what's in our brain is it's just a one gigantic function. What goes in through the eyes and the ears goes into that brain, and out comes of it messages, things that we think and whatnot. And if the stimuli inside of the world is not suitable, your brain will construct personas. It will construct things to adapt to, however the world is. If the world is not suitable, then it'll make it suitable. But I don't know what to say about these numbers. I see them all the time, and I get this feeling that I'm in hell, or that, that it isn't the world I grew up in, and all the weirdness in the world, like Christians voting for Trump and things like that. It's a sign that none of this is real. And I have to keep saying this in these videos, because I don't know how many of you guys are really real, but I get a feeling that you aren't, and I get a feeling that it's just the one managing the sandbox that's sitting on the outside, tweaking the variables, the one that's tossing me various sorts of programs, people that probably exist in a certain library called up like a program. And I'm familiar with programs because I've written software well, for a good bit of my life. I kind of just did what I wanted. I didn't do what other people wanted, and I guess if I had really understood what I was supposed to be doing here, which is basically being a slave to others and satisfying people rather than satisfying myself, then I probably would have had a happier life. But I can't really say that I really would know what kind of life it would be that I'd had, and if this isn't, that I would have done it any different. I don't know how I would have done it different. I'd probably make the decisions that require one to be to take leaps of faith, which I've never done. I've always feared everything, and I've always taken the easy way out of everything. Some people don't take the easy way out. It's always been my thing to flank reality, flank everything that's been thrown at me. But there are people who are autistic that do the same sort of thing. I mean, you realize that the world is not beneficial to the way that you deal with reality, and how do you discern what it is that you're supposed to do apart from what you are, and all your idiosyncrasies. I think the thing is that I used my learning differences and my problems as crutches to separate myself from other people, to go my own way, and avoid ever really learning to adapt to the world. And so I guess the failure to adapt to the world is the reason why people end up in hell, is that they can't adapt to reality. They choose not to adapt, and they choose not to grow. And I guess that's what happened with me. I grew, I just didn't grow in a suitable way, I guess, suitable to what God thinks is suitable. Or, so you just end up growing some other way. But as much as the devil wants me to believe there isn't a God, and as much as this world tends to revere evolution and Darwinism and all that stuff, and which I know is complete bullshit, I just keep doing what I think is right, or what it is that I prefer to do. And going to church is not really going to be... I might be able to benefit people at church because of the stuff I know, but I'm not a church person. I'm not somebody that should be revered in any way. I desire to be known. I don't desire to be popular. And I think it's better that I just be straight with everything, rather than trying to do what I used to do, which is to try to point out that I was something special. But then you come to the realization that reality was being bent in. That what you wanted and what you are were being bent together, and you come to the realization, you get all the clues that yes, this reality was being bent around you, that you weren't in a reality with other people, you were in a reality that was bent toward your ego,